Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to look at the parsha, which is Tetzaveh. I want to look at Tetzaveh is a hard parsha. We start in 464, but we're going to go somewhere else. But let's just start it. So the parsha of Tetzaveh is where Hashem says to Moshe, "Ve'ata tetzaveh," and you must command. There's one more there. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to get you the other. Okay, so let's go. So the Torah says that Hashem is now speaking to Moshe Rabbeinu, but if you look through the parsha, you will not find Moshe Rabbeinu's name, right? Because Moshe Rabbeinu said, if you're going to destroy the Jewish people, you must just completely machek et shmi, like wipe out my name from the Torah. So this is the one parsha of Moshe where Moshe's name is not mentioned. Okay, but so this is all about the Kohanim and the clothes that the Kohanim are going to wear. Well, the Kohen Gadol and the Kohanim, but mainly the Kohen Gadol. So one of the things I want to look at is the Choshen. So the Choshen, if you go to chapter 28, verse number 15, which is the beginning, which is on page 468, says the following. You must make this Choshen mishpat. The Maaseh Choshev means it's woven. Okay. Kamasa ephod ta'asenu, you must make it like the ephod. Zahav techelet v'argaman. It's used. They use the different materials of zahav, of gold. Techelet is that color. Argaman is also like a purple. V'tolat shani, and this red cord string. V'sheish mashlar, and also the what do you call it? Linen, twisted. Ta'aseh, that's how you make it. And then it explains how it has to be. Ravua yiyeh kaful. It must be square. That's when it's folded over. Zeret arkov, zeret rachbo, and it gives a measurement. A zeret. A zeret is like half an amah, which is probably around 35-40 centimeters. So it covers the breastplate, the chest of the coin. Okay. Now it says, what are you supposed to do with it? So you've got this woven design, and on top of that, you're going to put something. Malaitabo, you fill it. Maluat even arba turim aven. You fill it with a stone mat, with a maluat even, with like a mounting. Malua from Malay, which means to be filled. Maluat even, stone mounting, which is going to have arba turim even, 4 rows of stone. And then it starts the Torah starts telling which stones are going to be in there. Now, these are all semi-precious stones, as we would know them today. Some of them are like precious, but mainly semi-precious stones, that each one of them is going to be, and it tells all of those things. It's the first row, the second row, third row, the fourth row. Arba, Turim, Even, and what does it have to be? They're set in gold, which is their mounting. So you've got this like a foundation mount, and then you have the stones on top of that, and those are set in gold. You understand that? Okay, so like a ring. You know what a ring? Not like that. Okay, South Africa, Joburg. Okay, Joburg. Imagine there was a thing called a ring that you would be wearing. Okay, so you've got a mounting, and then you've got the stone inside the mounting, and then it like closes it in. Okay, so it's stuck in. That's how we have to understand it. Ba'avanim, and the names it says Tiyena al Shmot Bnei Israel. They have the names of all the Jewish people of all the Shvatim. Shteim Israel al Shmotam b'tuchei chotam ish al Shmot Tiyena l'shnei asar shevet. They have to be engraved like a signet ring. Their names, each according to the name it will be for the 12 tribes. Okay, so you've got these four rows. Each one of them have got 3 stones. Okay, and each of those stones represent one of the names of the Shvatim, and those names are engraved into the stones. Okay, great. And then it starts speaking about a whole lot of other stuff. One of the things it speaks about is that if you go to Chaf Dalet, I'm just going to read it in English because it's just easier. You shall place 2 golden ropes on the 2 rings at the end of the breastplate. The 2 ends of the 2 ropes will have 2 settings, which you'll place on the shoulder straps of the ephod. Okay, and in those 2 rings of gold, placed in the 2 ends of the breastplate, on the inline toward the ephod. So now you've got 2 settings on the shoulders, and you've got ropes holding this thing up in the back and the front. Okay, and then you make 2 rings of gold at the bottom of the 2 straps, the same thing in the bottom, and you attach the breastplate to the rings with the turquoise woolen cord and all these cords, and then what's on the shoulders? 2 stones as well. Okay, so now you've got this beautiful breastplate you can see in the picture there, and on the shoulders there's like a shoulder thing where you've got, like, if you've got rank in the army, you've got these stones. That's what they've got. Okay, leave those stones for the moment. I want to look at the stones of the breastplate because it's very difficult to understand. Rashi says, okay, that Rashi says the following: the maleta bor, you must fill them. Remember, you must put them you must mount them. Al shem sha'avanim memalot gumot hamishupatzot mitzukanot lahem. The stone fill the hollows of the setting, therefore they're called fillings. Now, there's something important. Rashi doesn't tell you things for the sake of telling us. There's something about these fillings that the stones are put in. It's very technical, so just go with me for the moment. Okay? There's something about the filling. The stones fill them, therefore the stones are called mamalaim. They are things that fill. Okay? Then okay, let's go. So once we've done now, we understand that to a certain degree. Then it says that the stones correspond to the names of the people of Israel. 12, there are 12 stones, 12 names, and they are engraved, each one of them. Rashi says that the according to the names of everybody, Keseder told the Tam Seder Avanim, in the same way that they are born in the chronology of their birth, so too is the order of the stones, which means that if you look there, you'll see Odem is Ruvain, and Pitida is Shimon, and all the different stones will correspond to each one of the different tribes according to that. Now, the Meishilach, which I don't know if we're going to have time to go through, he explains why each stone corresponds to each tribe. So that's quite long. I don't want to go into that yet. I want to look at something else, okay, which we'll see now. Okay. The Rabbeinu Bachaya says, I don't understand this. I don't understand this at all. Makes no sense. Okay. I understand that you got the stones. I understand that they engraved and they put into the gold sitting on the breastplate of the Kohen God. But why, if we believe that we need to move away from the gashmiut, away from the physicality, why are the tribes, which each one of them is supposed to be the holiness, and each one is a higher level of holiness from other, and all different things like that, why should they be represented by stones? That's difficult to understand. Sorry, put the records properly. Do you understand that question? Why would we have the stones representing the Jewish people when the stones are not the ikar? What's the ikar? The ikar is not the beauty of stones. The ikar is the beauty of the inside. Right? So why the stones? So says the Rabbeinu Bachai. Now listen to this. He says, "V'yesh." I'm going to read in Hebrew and then I'll translate it as I always do. V'yesh b'kan hit'orerut gedola al ma'alat haTorah. He says this whole story of the 12 tribes is going to awaken us and arouse us to this incredible spiritual awakening of the greatness of Torah. There is a pasuk that says, "Hanechmadim mizahav that the Torah is more beautiful, more precious than gold, more precious than pills, more precious than anything else." If that's the case, That's saying here that the Torah is more valued than plinim, pearls. And there's nothing of value that can even equalize the value of the Torah. Why? Now listen carefully to this, because this is technical, but you've got it, you'll get it. Key. He says the reality is that everybody loves gold and silver, right? You look at your things, wherever you are, right? Gold and silver. But on top of the gold and silver, and what do we like? We like stones on top of the gold, right? It's not enough just to have a ring, like your wedding band, but then the real fancy one is the one with the stone inside, because the stone gives an additional value, right? Okay, and therefore, comes the Torah, comes the pasuk to show that the Torah, which is represented by the Choshen Mishpat. The Choshen Mishpat is the Torah, and I'll explain to you where we see that practically today, is that the Torah is greater than any type of acquisition, any type of thing that one owns. Because here you see that the gold is the base for the stones. And what's on the stones? What's on the stones? You've got stone, you've got gold. That is. We all love gold and silver, right? On top of that, there are stones, which we love even more than the gold and silver, right? The diamonds. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, apparently. Okay. On top of that, what's on top of that? So we say names, but says the Rabbeinu B'chaya, the names are made up of letters. Okay. Why is it so important? So everything has a higher level. The gold is the base. On top of that are the stones. On top of that are the letters. What we always do is we make the thing from you make the foundation. So we're building a house next door, right? The foundation is schmutz, right? But then you put up the walls, and then you paint the walls, and you always do the least valuable or the least precious, right? First, right? I mean, you can't have it without that, but you have to do the least precious first. And the thing that is most precious to you is the thing that you see, right? So he says, nobody wants a pipe, but you have to have the pipe to run the electricity, otherwise you have nothing, right? So from the most simple to the most kavadik. If that's the case, what's the most kavadik on the Choshen Mishpat? The letters. The letters. So tell me about the letters. Where do the letters come from? What are the letters? It's an amazing thing. So we don't think about this. That's what the Rabbeinu Chai is really pointing out to us. We don't think about what letters really are. The Torah said, the Zohar says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks into the Torah and he created the world. He started HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'oraisa bara alma. But there was no Torah. There was not written. There was not what Hashem not do the Hagbah. And he said, "Oh, that's a good idea. Let me write it." What is the Torah? The Torah is a collection of letters that have been formed in a way that we can understand. Okay, the letters are the essence of everything. The letters are, as he says, Shebahem Nivra Ha'olam. The letters are the things through which the world was created. Shekol HaKinyanim Nimtza Imbo. And everything that exists in the world is because of the letters. So what's the most precious? It's not the gold. We know that because we want the stone. But it's not the stone. It's actually the letters. Because it's through the letters that the Torah is. So when what Rabbeinu B'chai is saying, when one sees the Choshen Mishpat, you should see the order of importance of life. It's the letters, which is the Torah, then it's the stones, very nice, then it's the gold. And that's really what's supposed to be standing out. The Sforno says, Sforno is Spanish, no, he's Italian, Italian commentary. He says the following, that they must have the names of the Jewish people, that when those people who donated the stones gave them over, what are they supposed to do with them? They had to sanctify them. He says, when they would hand over the stones to Moshe or to whoever was collecting them, I would say to him, do you know that these stones are going to have the names of the Shvatim written on them? And therefore, what would they do? They would say, we're giving it over for that holy purpose. Why is that so important? Why is that so important? Only he says that, nobody else says it. Is that they were given what's called L'Shem Shamayim and L'Shem the mitzvah. So when you do, we don't do that. No one's here has Sfardi, right? No? So we don't do this. But the Sfardim, before they do a mitzvah, anything, no matter what it is, they have a whole spiel that they say. About the Hasidim as well. The Shem Yichud Brichul Teacher Shmer, a whole spiel. Where they before they do the mitzvah, they say a little thing to say that it's doing the shame that mitzvah, the purpose of that mitzvah. Why is that? We don't do that. Why don't we do that? So we're a little bit lazy. And we hold that the bracha is, if you're making a bracha on a mitzvah, so you're already saying that the purpose of the thing that you're doing is the mitzvah. But they do a thing before. Now this is saying, the Sforno is saying that that when the people gave the stones, they had to have the intention that those stones would fulfill the holy purpose. What's the holy purpose? What's the holy purpose of the choshen? Well, that's the Urim V'Tumim that uses the choshen, right? But what's the purpose of the choshen? We just saw. The purpose of the choshen is to highlight what's valuable and what's not valuable. Okay? Once we understand that, I think we can begin to understand the way other people understand it. Let's go into the Mei Shiloach. The Mei Shiloach is the Ishbitzer Rebbe. Okay, he's amazing because he brings all these different things about all these different things. Now, what he's going to explain is why all these stones correspond to something else, and what that really is going to mean to us is that if we understand what the stones are representing the Torah, if that's the case, then it must be that the 12 Shvatim represent different midot of the Torah. Understand that? And if that's the case, then that's what we have to try and take on, what we are supposed to represent for the different Shvatim. So he says the following. Odem, so if you look at the order, let's see how many we get through. Yeah. Let's look at the order. You'll see there. It says there Odem. The first one is Odem. What is in it's verse number 17. Malay Tzabot says that you fill it with these 4 rows. Odem, Pitzata, Uvareket. Odem, Pitzata, Uvareket. Those are the first 3 stones. So says the Mei Shiloach, Odem is Ruvain. We know that because Rashi told us that. He said that each one of the tribes, each of the tribes, they're given in their birth order. Why? Why is Odem Ruvain? That's interesting. Because what does Odem mean? What does this name sound like? Oh, no, that's with an I. That's with that. Odem is in verse number 17. So Odem is Aleph Daled Mem. Adam, and what else? Who was what exile are we in? The exile of Edom. Okay, what's Edom? Why was he called Edom? Why is Esav called Edom? Because he was red. So says the Mei Shiloach, which is interesting. He says that the color of red is the color of Simcha. Okay. Okay. Why is that? So Reuven, he says, comes from the word Ru'u, which means to see. So if that's the case, he says that a person should always see himself or herself. Okay. Standing in the presence of Hashem, and Hashem illuminating his or her eyes. That's why we're all wearing glasses. And some of us aren't, they can't see properly. Okay? So Odem is Ruvain, which brings Simcha, because the things that we see, if we look around the world properly, we'll get great joy at the things that we see. And when we see the things, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings, it brings us great joy and great Simcha. Okay, that's according to Odem. Says the second one. What is next one? So Odem is, and the next one is Pitzta. Pitzada is topaz, the way they translate it. Now remember, they're translating, but it doesn't mean that's what it is. It's just translation, because no one really knows what these things are, right? But we've got traditions of what they are, but some people say different things. So he says, what? So this obviously is Shimon. Why is it Shimon? Because the word pitzada. What does the word pitzada mean? I'm just going to do one or two of them. Shimon nimtza amukot gadol b'divrei Torah. He says because Shimon has a great depth of the learning of Torah. How do we know that Shimon has a great depth the learning of Torah? Because Shimon is one of the ones that was cursed by Yaakov. Well, not really cursed. Well, he was told by Yaakov. Remember, Levi and Shimon, what do? They went and killed the whole city. It's a nice thing to do for a good Jewish boy, right? So when they do that, Yaakov says, because we're so scared of Shimon and Levi coming together, we're going to spread them out amongst the Jewish people. Shimon is going to be like the itinerant preachers, and Levi is going to be stuck in the base of Mikdash as part of the Kohanim teaching Torah. That's what they're going to do. So therefore, Shimon is great Torah knowledge. However, he says, Pitzada. So the concept of Pitzada, because the first and the last letter of Pitzada spell Pei Dalet, which is Pe, okay? And Tet Dalet are what? So now listen to this. Now this is an amazing thing what the Mashiach is going to do, because we're trying to understand Pitzada. The Mashiach is going to show us, and this is all a Hasidic understanding, which is fine. I mean, it has a depth. That's why I wanted to show you this, because he takes things that we don't understand and gives a whole new picture to it. Okay? It's Pe. Number one we can understand is Pe, which is the mouth. The mouth is the one that speaks, the one that teaches. Tet and Dalet are letters that are next to each other. Okay, here. Okay, it says that the Tet and the Dalet should make us think immediately of Yud and Hey. Why? How's that for a switch? Because it's the next letter. Okay, Tet, Dalet are next to each other, so let's see what's next to each other. Tet is Yud, Hey is Yud, so the secret is Yud Hey. What's Yud Hey? It's Hashem's name, but it's not just Hashem's name. It is Hashem's name, but it's 15. Why is 15 so important? We discussed this last week. We spoke about 15 last week. Right, isn't it amazing? Because Yud Hey is the 15 with which the world was created. Right? It's the Yud Hey pair. It's the pair that speaks the Yud Hey. That's the pair that speaks about the secret, the deepest secrets of creation, which are not, which is the wisdom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, nice idea. Now let's the next one. Okay, the next one is Bareket. Okay, anyone think of anything? What's Bareket? It's the feminine form of something. So therefore you should take off one letter. Which letter? The last letter. Tough. What does that leave you? What's Barak? Lightning. Correct. Yes, I got it. Okay. So what is that? So now we're looking at Levi, right? We've got Ruvain, Shimon, Levi. Sorry, I'm throwing these things out. Levi, why? Ki bareket merumaz al yirah milashon barak shemagale oro pitom. He says that what is about, it's the deep reverence that you have for HaKadosh Baruch Hu that suddenly appears like a lightning flash. We don't always live our lives with Yirat Hashem. It does not exist. It's not like something we're always conscious of. But when a situation comes, then we have this sudden feeling of Yira, of awe, reverence, that we have to then act according to. Okay, this is not easy, huh? I told you, this is not easy. Okay, but it's good. It's good. Let's go. So we've got, that's the first line. First three. Reuven, Shimon, Levi. Yehuda. What is Yehuda? Yehuda is the Torah Sheni, Nofech. So Nofech, the way I want it is Nofech. No one translates it. What is Nofech? So he says, yeah, Nofech is a carbuncle. Don't know what that is. Anyone know? Don't you have carbuncles in your feet? Yeah. So what is carbuncle? So I don't know what that Nofech is. He says the carbuncle is something, the way he explains it, is Neged Yehuda, ki ha'evan ha'nofech rofafim kol ha'gavanim b'nichnalim bo. He says that the carbuncle has many different colors in it. And depending on how you turn it and how you see it, that will be the colors that you see. Which means that it contains everything in it. Who's Yehuda? What is he going to be? The king. So what does he need to have an understanding of? Everyone. Of all the colors. Which is quite a deep insight. I think it's a very deep insight. Okay. Not only that, he says, but if it contains different things inside it, it's not pure. It's not pure. Why does that represent you for that? It's like all different. It's got all different colors. It's not a pure color. So there's something about Yehuda that we forget. We all think about Yehuda, Mashiach, and all that thing. Something else about Yehuda. What's the story of Yehuda that you know most? Thank you. So what happens in that story? Let's try and unpack that for a couple of minutes. So Yehuda has these two sons, Er and Onan. Okay, he finds this lovely girl called Tamar, and she marries Er. Okay, messes that up. He dies. Onan then takes her because that's how it has to be. The brother takes her, stuffs that one up. Okay, he dies also. Then there's another little brother who's a little baby at the time, so it's a little bit too young to marry this older woman. So he waits. Okay, but he never takes it. He never takes him to her, right? Which is supposed to happen. So what she does is she kind of preempts this and says, "Okay, I want to be the mother of Yehuda's children." So therefore, she dresses up as a harlot or whatever, prostitute on the street corner, and he meets her, and he doesn't have any money with him, right? He only uses credit cards. She doesn't take credit cards, and she falls pregnant from this, okay? But nothing happens. She takes a certain, labor. That's the right word, right? Because she's got no money, right? She takes his stuff and she says, okay, I'll bring the money, I'll bring the sheep or whatever it is that he was going to give her. But he goes, he can't find her. So she's got this thing. Then she falls pregnant. 3 months later, she's pregnant. And all of Yehuda's chevra say, Tamar's pregnant. She's obviously been messing around. What do we do? They were going to kill her because that's what happens. So they bring her before and he says, who have you been with? Said, the person who owns this. Now, can you imagine? All of a sudden, Yehuda realizes that this whole thing's a disaster. Okay, Yehuda is the king of the Jews. The king. This is the one who fought with Yosef to be the king, right? This is the one who all the brothers trusted was going to be the guy who was going to make sure everything was going to be all right. He stuffed this whole thing up. So what is he going to do now? So what is that concept of admitting? That's called vidui. Vidui. We do it every single Yom Kippur. Yehuda is the first Baal Tshuva, which means that he contains within himself everything that he was, as well as everything that he's going to be. Okay? He is that stone that is different colors. He contains the whole of Am Yisrael. That's why you can understand Am Yisrael. Because if you're so pure and unbelievable, how can you possibly understand Am Yisrael properly? On a real level. Correct. Number one, we got to admit, but also it makes us being able to be more like understanding. Yeah, human. Okay. So that's Yehuda. I think that's quite a nice little insight. Let's go to. We're not going to be able to go through all of them. I just want to see which is. And let's go to Naphtali. So if you look at the stone for Naphtali, it's called the Shavor. It's in verse number 19. Baturash Leshem Shavor va'achlama. So the Shavor, which they translate as the agate. Okay, what does Shavor mean? I don't know. Sorry, my stone knowledge is not so good. Okay, what does Shavor mean? What is the root? It's similar to shuv, to return. So why would Naphtali have the word Shavor in his name? Okay, so says the Ishbitzer, he says Shavor is related to the word return. This means that even when he goes to engage in matters of this world, Naphtali is a merchant. He goes, Naphtali is an ayal, a deer. So he runs very far, very fast, comes back and forth all the time. Okay, and it seems to the mortal eye that his heart is not with God. Then at the moment his heart returns and gazes on God. So Naphtali is the one who seems, when he's in that space of his business and whatever he's doing, that he's not connected, but he always returns. Okay, so that's an important one. Let's look at the last one. The last one you need to look at is the Torah Revi'i Tashish v'Shoam v'Yash Fei. Yash Fei. Look at that word. So write that. Yash Fei. Sorry, it's a yud. What is that? What two words are in that? Yesh. Could say po. Yesh po, which means? What is that? So why is that so important? You tell me. It's the last one. Who's Yesh po? Who's the last one? Yesh pe, Yesh po. So is Binyamin. I'm going to tell you something. I think this is an incredible thing. He doesn't say this, but it struck me all the time, and now I think you can use this. Yesh pe, which means what? There is a mouth. There is a voice. There's speaking, right? Who never speaks? In the Torah, of all the brothers, Binyamin never speaks, right? Everyone speaks for him, right? They kiss him and they give him gifts and they give him all these things, and if he steals, then he's accused. He never, ever says anything. He goes, "Hi, you're safe. Missed you." So if there's Yesh Peh, where does he have his Peh? Where does his Peh begin? If he's Yesh Peh, he's got a mouth. It means he's got a voice that needs to be heard at some point in time. When is that? I'm going to read you the pasuk. Because this pasuk is the pasuk that changed the whole Jewish world. And the pasuk goes like this. I don't want to read the name yet. Sorry, I'll get it now. Vayomer, whoever, Lashiv el, whoever. So this one said to go to say to someone, Al tidmi benafshek, imaleit beit hamelech mikol hayudim. Don't keep quiet. Because why? Because if you keep quiet, at this time, then salvation, call it for want of a better word, will come to the Jewish people from somewhere else. And you and the house of your father will be destroyed. Mordechai to Esther. It's good, huh? Good, huh? Okay. What happens, we know the story, okay? But the story is not so simple. Let's look a little bit. That's why it's important that it falls out at this time of the year. Always falls out at this time of the year. Okay? You've got now a drosha for Shabbos, and you've got a drosha for Purim. Okay? The Mordechai is referred to in the Megillah as Ish Yehudi Haya b'Shoshana Bira, B'Shmo Mordechai ben Kish ben Erek, Ish Yemini, as an Ish Yemini, comes from the tribe of Binyamin. That's all it says. Okay? Why is he from the tribe of Binyamin? Why is the tribe of Binyamin so important to him? Because the tribe of Binyamin, okay, is is the one son that never ever bowed down to Asa. Therefore, he's never going to bow down to Haman. Okay, that's how the whole thing works out. But Mordechai, it just says Mordechai hears about things, and he heard about things, and we know that he told the king about Bigtan and Teresh. Just said that we're going to kill him, and he sorted it out. We don't hear about Mordechai. We don't hear anything about it until there's this big thing that and the way the Torah describes it, Mordechai knew what happened, and what does he do? By Yikra Mordechai Begadav, he tears his garment, and what does he do? He goes out and he cries an incredible cry. Okay, and on that terrible cry is what Esther hears. She hears that he's wearing sackcloth. She sends him clothes. He tells everything that's happened, and everything is going okay until she says to him, "What? I can't do it. The king is going to not like me. I own the whole spirit." And he says to her, "You've got a choice. You either have a pair, you either have a mouth, you have what to say, or you don't. It's up to you. I'm Mordechai. I've got a pair. That's my Masorah that I'm sitting on the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol. I've got a mouth. I'm going to tell you what you need to do, but it's your choice. Remember, who is she? We don't really know who she is. She's one of two people. The Gemara is not sure either. Either she's his, or she's his niece or daughter or something, right? So if she's his wife, right, then she takes on his minhagim, by the way. If she's his daughter, then she comes from the same Masorah. We're not sure which one she is. Gemara seems to come out to really his wife. But the interest of Shura is that what? The Yesh pair of the Kohen Gadol's breastplate is the voice of Mordechai that is going to be heard hundreds of years later to save the Jewish people. Let's stop there.